Chapter 12. Now, see how you match as a couple. In the last chapter, you, and perhaps a testing partner, took 10 tests to determine your individual chances of achieving happiness in marriage. The tests recorded your rating on 9 important personality traits and on your family background. Now we will see how well matched you are. It is possible that you can get a rough idea how well you are matched to an absentee person without having him take any of the tests in these 2 chapters. Suggestions for procedure in such a case are given at the end of this chapter. However, it is much more desirable, if you want a really accurate picture, to have the other person take the tests and do the matching with you. The matching of you two will be based not only on the scores you made in the 10 tests just taken and your total score on the tests, but also on 10 other factors which we have found are important in predicting marital success. They include such things as age, education, length of courtship, and tendency to quarrel. These factors together with your test results will present an accurate overall picture of your compatibility for marriage, or lack of it. And incidentally, a matching of 2 people is not as important when both the man and the girl made a high score, above 400, in the 10 tests just taken, as it is if one made a low score and the other a high score, or if both made low scores. First of all, let's pair up your scores on those 10 tests in the last chapter to see what your scores mean on each trait when they are paired together. Trait 1 is a sociability factor. You can see how 2 people, one who is sociable and something of a gadabout, and the other a homebody who isn't sociable, might not be well matched. Both should be sociable and like to go out and be with people, or both should be fireside toasters, home-loving souls who enjoy being alone with each other. Trait 2 is a measure of tranquility, or lack of irritability. While it is better for both to score high, if one scores low, it is important that the other should score high, or there may be considerable bickering and angry feelings. Trait 4 is a measure of dependability, frankness, and willingness to accept responsibility. This trait is of great importance to happiness of both men and women. It is especially important that a girl score high here. Both should score high, but if one scores low, it is quite important that the other score high. Trait 5 is a measure of stability. Our research shows that it is of the greatest importance that the 2 people make about the same scores on this test. While it is better for both to be high, it is more crucial that the girl make a high score be very stable than it is for the man. Trait 6 is a measure of standards and ideals. Both should have high scores, but it is more important that the man have a good score than the girl because girls have been trained to have higher ideals than men. If one mate has a very low score, then the other by all means should have a high score. That combination will provide a balance wheel. Trait 7 is a measure of steadiness and freedom from excess emotionality. While more important that the man score high, because in most cases he will be the income earner, both should make about the same scores. Trait 8 is a measure of flexibility and adaptability. While average to high scores are important, and while agreement or about the same scores are desirable, if one must score low, it is better for the man to do so than for the woman. Trait 9 is a measure of thoughtfulness and consideration. This is a much more important trait for women than for men, yet at the same time, marriage happiness is definitely promoted by both making about the same scores. Trait 10 is important for either the man or the woman, because it measures the family background of both people. It is important that both score as high as possible on this trait. It is even more important for the girl to score high than it is for the man. But if either mate should score low, it is most important that the other score high. To sum up, it is important that both people make about the same scores on sociability, 1, conformity, 2, dependability, 4, stability, 5, idealism, 6, flexibility, 8, and seriousness, 9, and the higher the better. If one scored low on the other 3, tranquility, steadiness, and family background, it is important that the other score high. But how can you get a more detailed, concrete picture of your compatibility or lack of it? On the following pages, you are going to see your degree of compatibility emerge from a series of 21 figures. When those 21 figures are totaled, you will have your average. Instructions. First, glance over these "Do you match" tables on the next few pages to familiarize yourself with them. In the 21 blocks, you will match yourselves on the 10 traits already tested. You will match your total scores on those traits, and then in the last 10, will match yourself on 10 other factors. Take the very first item, Test 1. This matches you on sociability. Suppose the man had an adjusted score of 27 when he took the sociability test in the last chapter, and the girl had a score of 24. Look over the 5 alternative combinations to see where such a scoring fits. It fits in combination D, so you should write a credit of 3 points in the block on the right. On test 2, suppose the man made an adjusted score of 18 and the girl of 7. That's a big difference. Since no such combination is shown, write a 0 in the block. Do you match? Test 1. A. Both scored 30 or above, give credit of 10 points. B. One scored 30 or above, other scored 25 to 29, credit 5 points. C. Both scored 25 to 29, credit 5 points. D. One scored 25 to 29, other scored 21 to 24, credit 3 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 2. Both scored 15 or above, give credit of 8 points. B. One scored 15 or above, the other scored 11 to 14, credit 4 points. C. Both scored 11 to 14, credit 2 points. D. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 3. A man scored 56 or above, girl 28 or above, credit 12 points. B. Man scored 56 or above, girl 23 to 27, credit 10 points. C. Man scored 46 to 55, girl 23 or above, credit 8 points. D. Man scored 37 to 45, girl scored 23 or above, credit 3 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 4. A. A man scored 50 or above, girl 100 or above, credit 20 points. B. Girl scored 100 or above, man scored 40 to 49, credit 15 points. C. Girl scored 100 or above, man scored 31 to 39, credit 10 points. D. Man scored 40 to 49, girl scored 81 to 99, credit 8 points. E. Man scored 31 to 39, girl scored 81 to 99, credit 5 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 5. A. Man scored 40 or above, girl 80 or above, credit 15 points. B. Man scored 31 to 39, girl 80 or above, credit 12 points. C. Man scored 21 to 29, girl 80 or above, credit 10 points. D. Man scored 40 or above, girl 60 to 79, credit 8 points. E. Man scored 31 to 39, girl 60 to 79, credit 5 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 6. A. Both scored 30 or above, give credit of 10 points. B. One scored 30 or above, other scored 25 to 29, credit 5 points. C. Both scored 25 to 29, credit 5 points. D. One scored 25 to 29, other scored 21 to 24, credit 3 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 7. A man scored 80 or above, girl 40 or above, credit 12 points. B. Man scored 80 or above, girl 35 to 39, credit 10 points. C. Man scored 71 to 79, girl 40 or above, credit 8 points. D. Man scored 71 to 79, girl 35 to 39, credit 5 points. E. Man scored 61 to 69, girl 40 or above, credit 3 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 8. A. Both scored 22 or above, credit 10 points. B. Man scored 22 or above, girl 13 to 21, credit 8 points. C. Man scored 13 to 21, girl scored 22 or above, credit 5 points. D. Man scored 13 to 21, girl scored 13 to 21, credit 3 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 9. A man scored 30 or above, girl scored 60 or above, credit 15 points. B. Man scored 24 to 29, girl scored 60 or above, credit 12 points. C. Man scored 19 to 23, girl scored 60 or above, credit 10 points. D. man scored 30 or above, girl 48 to 59, credit 8 points. E. Man scored 24 to 29, girl scored 48 to 59, credit 5 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Test 10. Both scores 120 or above, credit 20 points. B. One scores 100 to 119, other scores 120 or above, credit 15 points. C. Both score 100 to 119, credit 10 points. D. One scores 120 or above, other scores 81 to 90, credit 8 points. E. One scores 100 to 119, other scores 80 or less, credit 5 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Total test score. Total of all 10 tests as scored in Chapter 11. A. Man 460 or above, girl 500 or more, credit 25 points. B. Man 400 to 459, girl 500 or more, credit 20 points. C. Man 460 or above, girl 425 to 499, credit 15 points. D. Man 400 to 459, girl 425 to 499, credit 10 points. E. Man 350 to 425, girl 400 or above, credit 5 points. F. Any other combination receives no credit. Now score your compatibility on the 10 additional factors following and fill the proper credits in the blocks just as you have been doing. On factors 7, 8, and 9, bear in mind that you cannot count as a part of your acquaintanceship, courtship, or engagement any period of time of 3 months or longer when you did not see each other, as in the case where a man was overseas. 1. Parents. A. Both sets of parents happily married, credit 15 points. B. One set of parents happy, other set average, credit 10 points. C. Both sets of parents average in happiness, credit 8 points. D. One set happy, other set not happy, credit 5 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. 2. Schooling. A. Both members of the couple have had education beyond high school, credit 10 points. B. Both have completed high school, credit 8 points. C. One has some college, the other has finished high school, 5 points. D. Any other combination receives no credit. 3. Religion. Both regularly attend the same or similar churches, credit 15 points. B. Both are Jews, Catholics, or Protestants, credit 10 points. C. Although basic religions differ, both have about the same views, credit 5 points. D. Any other combination receives no credit. 4. Parental approval. A. Both sets of parents approve this match, credit 12 points. B. One set approves, the other is not opposed, credit 10 points. C. One set approves, one set opposes, credit 5 points. D. Any other combination receives no credit. 4. Age comparison. A. Both people are within 3 years of age of each other, credit 10 points. B. Girl is 3 or more years older than man, credit 5 points. C. Any other combination receives no credit. 5. Years of age. A. Man is at least 25 years, girl at least 22, credit 10 points. B. Man is at least 23 years, girl at least 20, credit 5 points. C. Man 22 years or older, girl at least 19, credit 3 points. D. Any other combination receives no credit. 7. Acquaintanceship. A. Have known each other 6 years or more, credit 20 points. B. Have known each other 3 but less than 6 years, credit 15 points. C. Have known each other 2 but less than 3 years, credit 10 points. D. Have known each other 1 but less than 2 years, credit 5 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. 8. Dating. A. Have been dating and going steady 3 years or more, credit 20 points. B. Have been dating and going steady 2 but less than 3 years, credit 15 points. C. Have been going steady 1 year but less than 2 years, credit 10 points. D. Have been going steady 8 months to 1 year, credit 5 points. E. Any other combination receives no credit. 9. Engagement, if any. A. Have been definitely engaged for over 2 years, credit 20 points. B. Have been definitely engaged 18 months to 2 years, credit 15 points. C. Have been definitely engaged 12 months to 18 months, credit 10 points. D. Have been definitely engaged not less than 6 months, credit 5 points. E. If engaged less than 6 months, no credit. 10. Quarrels. A. There have been no quarrels to speak of during courtship, credit 20 points. B. Any misunderstandings have been quickly settled by mutual agreement, credit 15 points. C. While there have been conflicts, no one was so serious that the couple did not see each other regularly, credit 10 points. D. Misunderstandings have been infrequent and have been settled by one or the other giving in, credit 5 points. E. Any other answer receives no credit. Total final score. Now you have 21 scores and a total final score. Let us see what this score means. If the total final score for you two is 250 or above, then you would seem to be very well matched. Furthermore, it would appear that you two people should be quite happy in marriage. If there are no unfavorable factors present such as poor physical health or inability to make a living, and if you two people are really deeply in love, then your marriage should be a happy one. If the final score is 200 to 249, you would still seem to be fairly well matched. If there are no unfavorable factors, if both of you are old enough for marriage, and if both of you are determined to make it work, you should be happier than is the average couple. If your final score is 150 to 199, the outlook would not seem to be too favorable. Your marriage might not be as happy as that of the average couple. Why not wait another 6 months? Give yourselves time to see what some of your problems are. Do something active about them. It may help you to talk things over with a marriage counselor, or with your minister, or somebody else whom you trust and who is mature enough to help you analyze the situation. If your score is 149 or less, then it would seem that you two people should put off the marriage for 6 months or perhaps a year or longer. You can be sure that there are some factors present that should make you stop, look, and listen. Perhaps both of you are not well adjusted to separate personalities or to each other. Maybe you are of radically different religions or your parents are opposed to your marriage. Perhaps you need to have a much longer period of courtship or engagement. Whatever the reason, you should talk the matter over with some person competent to advise you. See a good marriage counselor or psychologist who specializes in guidance. Talk things over with your minister, rabbi, or priest. You don't want to make a mistake and have an unhappy marriage that might terminate in separation or divorce. Of course, you can say, and correctly, that you have little or no responsibility for some of the factors, such as the lack of happiness in your parents' marriage. Even though this may be the case, you have been affected or influenced by the presence or absence of happiness in your own home. What are some concrete suggestions that may help you bring about a happy marriage, even though one of you, or the two of you, may not have made scores typical of young couples who get married and are happy? These suggestions may be of help to you. 1. If you are introverted, unsociable, you should increase the number of social skills that you have. Oftentimes, we find that our enjoyment from association with other people is increased greatly when we learn to do some of the things they do, such as dance, bowl, swim, etc. Try to be outstanding in something. 2. Acquire a philosophy of life. What are your beliefs and views? Are you a conservative or a radical in politics, religion, ethics? Are there some guiding principles in your life? If you aren't sure, sit down with yourself and try to figure out what you believe in practice. Check it against your own behavior. Do you say one thing and do another? Are your family and friends rather sure about what you believe in, or do they have trouble predicting what you will do next? 3. Is your temper explosive, unruly, and peevish? Why do you get angry? Is it because you feel inferior? Why do you feel inferior? Can't you do something about it? Do you honestly try to control your temper? 4. Are you unstable, fearful, nervous? Why? Is it because you feel you are unattractive or ignorant? Or are you carrying around feelings of guilt and uneasiness about something you feel ashamed of? Is it your physical health? See your physician. If it is your mental health, see a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist. Develop a trusting, confidential relationship with someone, preferably an older person, with whom you can feel free to unburden yourself. 5. Are your standards and ideals too low or too high when compared to your behavior? Perhaps you are an intolerant and prejudiced person who is too narrow-minded and prudish. Are you critical and gossipy about many of the things your acquaintances do? Do you know whether you have set your standards impossibly high, so high that you have a constant feeling of frustration because you are always falling short? 6. Are you an emotional person, always going off on a tangent, never able to keep a steady course? Is it because you aren't in the work you want to do? Can't you change jobs? Perhaps you are confused in your thinking, disturbed about religion, morals, things that are right or wrong. Have you asked your friends their ideas? Do you keep busy? Have you talked things over with your pastor? Is there some serious frustration always hanging over your head? Why don't you sit down, take stock of yourself? It is only by inventory of ourselves, accompanied by a searching analysis, that we discover what is wrong and see ways to clear things up. 7. Are you so set in your ways that you cannot see that circumstances alter cases? Do you earnestly try to adapt yourself to people and new situations, or do you expect all the adaptation to come from somebody else? Perhaps you are smug, never have a new idea. Try reading a Republican newspaper if you have never read anything but a Democratic paper. Go to a different church. Get out of the rut you are in. Listen to other people's ideas for a change. Don't be so cocksure that you are always right and the other fellow always wrong. 8. Do you ever sit down and think? Reflect about yourself, your friends, your activities, your responsibilities. Do you stop and ask yourself if you are selfish and inconsiderate? Do you sympathize with others? Try to avoid saying things that may hurt somebody's feelings? Do you build up people rather than tear down? Do you go out of your way to help others? 9. If you and your prospective mate are constantly quarreling, have you stopped asking whose fault it is and started doing your best to prevent conflicts? Unless you two people settle your problems by compromise and mutual give and take, your marriage future looks dark. 10. Did you get engaged shortly after you first met? In most real love, an engagement rarely occurs before the couple have known and dated each other regularly for at least a year or longer. 11. Are you sure it is love? Could it just be loneliness, a desire to escape an unpleasant environment? Are you sure it isn't a fantasy ideal? 12. Why don't your parents approve this marriage? After all, they may have something. Look back in the past. Weren't they right many times then when you thought they were wrong? Unless your friends warmly approve this marriage, your parents are probably right in urging you to wait. 13. Do you really know your mate? What makes one a good date doesn't usually make one a good mate. Although an hour's enjoyment of dancing, going to movies, etc. may be a wonderful pastime, it may be far from what you need in a mate. Are you sure what you want in a mate is what you need? Are you sure that what you have found is what you need in a mate? 14. Last but not least, is this prospective mate going to be the sort of parent you want your children to have? When you have finished asking yourself these questions, you will probably have some good ideas what to do if you and your mate didn't make a score above average. Take your time. It is easier to get married than it is to get separated or divorced, and much easier on one's disposition in the long run. You want to marry, but we want you to make a good choice and to find in marriage all the happiness and contentment that it can bring. Procedure if you are doing the matching alone. Some readers may wish to see how they match with another person, but would prefer to do the matching without consulting him. This can be done, though of course it would be much less accurate. Use the Do You Match tables in this chapter, just as couples working together did. You won't have much trouble scoring the last 10 of the 21 items, since they are based on known facts. Your greatest problem will be in estimating the scores your mate would make in the 10 tests on personality traits. Your estimates will necessarily be rough approximations, but if you have known this person for several months, you may have a fair idea how he would answer the various questions in those tests and estimate scores for him accordingly. Be rigidly honest when you imagine the answers this person would make. You can double-check your compatibility with such an absentee person by taking the following short test. It is a greatly abbreviated check on compatibility. Are you well mated? Here is a final checklist on compatibility, primarily for a person who took the tests in Chapter 11 by himself. This test, which can be taken by either a man or woman, provides you with a rough gauge for determining whether the person you are dating might make a good mate for you. If you are a man, change questions to read she instead of he. 1. Are you two about equally sociable? That is, are you both either gadabouts or both stay-at-homes? 2. Are you both stern-minded with high ideals, or else are you both broad-minded and practical? 3. Does he find satisfaction and reward in his work? 4. Is he over 20, under 40, and not divorced? 5. Is he regarded by acquaintances as a solidly dependable person not given to excuse-making and sly lies? 6. Have you been dating steadily for 2 years or longer? 7. Has your dating been relatively free from quarrels? 8. Do you and your mate have much the same beliefs and attitudes about religion? 9. Do both sets of parents favor this marriage? 10. Did he attend Sunday school regularly until he was at least 18? 11. Is he in good physical health? 12. Do you two have about the same emotional responsiveness or warmth of passion? 13. Was he free of conflict with his parents, and did they discipline him firmly but not harshly? 14. Were his parents happily married? 15. Is he free of jealousy and suspicion? 16. Does he have a calm, even temperament, especially if you are the one to fly off the handle quickly? 17. Do you both have a healthy attitude towards sex? That is, are you neither disgusted nor morbidly concerned with it? 18. Is he a temperate person not given to heavy drinking? 19. Are you two fairly close together, somewhere in the broad middle zone between being timid and reckless? 20. Do you both think you want children? If each had 16 yes answers or more to the above questions, then your romance would seem to be on a fairly solid ground. However, after you have taken the test, then go back and compare the two sets of answers on all the questions. If each had 17 yeses or more, and if there was mutual agreement, that is, if both had the same yes answers to at least 15 of the questions, then it would appear that your marriage is not so mixed that it cannot be made to work.